morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butchester. You know what I like to do on the show. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today we want to fire up our children. Our guest today is Daysharee Vallier, and we are talking about her book, My 7 Favorite Colors. Now, this book is to remind children of the beauty in colors and showing how beauty can be healthy and how healthy you can be. Now, I love it. Now, you guys know there's a sweet spot in my heart for people who write books for children. So, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Good morning, and thank you so much for being on with me today.
Good morning.
I'm so glad that you are here. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I know that writing is something that you have to have a passion for, and especially when you're writing for children, you have to really, choose your words carefully and get your message out. And I cannot wait to talk to you about your book. But before we do that, I would love to introduce you to perhaps those one or two people out there who are unfamiliar with you and your work. So if you can, please, can you tell us what makes you or what has made you the woman that you are today?
Well, actually, what makes me me is that I like to inspire people. I always been that type of person. I like to inspire people, and I like to encourage them to be the best that they can be at whatever it is that they choose to be. Growing up, I always was fascinated by people and their talent, people and their smart, and and I would encourage them to push that, So I guess that's what makes me me, to just kind of inspire people. I like to sometimes share my story so that people can, feel better about their story. And sometimes I like to hear people's stories so that I can feel better about my story. So I also like to hear good stories. The great stories, they inspire me, they empower me, and they keep me pushing to want to make more stories and empower. So I guess I've always been a person that likes to inspire, I guess, and encourage. Mm-hmm. And that makes me me.
And I can understand that, because it seems like when you talk to people who are that inspiration, who are that light for others, when you talk to their friends and family, they say, yep, this one has always been different. There's always been something about this one that you know what I mean? It's like you can't kind of contain it. Asking different people, of course, is always going to be a little bit different, but you were always that kid or that person who just had that extra energy, that had that extra light, and it's like, yep, got it. So I can understand that. You can't hold all that light to yourself. You have to share it with someone else. So I definitely understand. Now, being an author, is that something that you always wanted to do, or did you, at some point, did you realize, you know what, I have to get my message out there. I have to share. So at what point in your life did it dawn on you that being an author is something you wanted or needed to do?
I believe I was probably 19 years old. I have always been a writer, but being an author, I didn't think I was going to be that. I always wanted to write music. I started off when I was a kid. I wrote my first poem probably when I was 9 years old. Once I got older, I started to write music. I started to write songs. I couldn't really sing much, so I would get girls in a group. They would sing it. Eventually, the girls didn't like to do it as much as I did, so I started to do rap. I started to make rap music. And I had a chance when I was 17 years old to meet a Usher's and Lil Jon's producer. He was going to fly me to Atlanta so that he can check me out and I can do business with him. But he didn't allow me to come by myself. I had to come with an adult. My mom was not really for it then, so I kind of lost that opportunity. I never wanted to give up on writing because that was something that was always just imprinted in my heart. I always had a passion for that, and I could never just give that up. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to write it for kids, and it's going to teach them to never give up, and that no matter what they choose to be, they can be anything they want to be in life, and everybody have a purpose, no matter what it is that you do choose to be. And that was my first book, what I want to be when I grow up. And then I just continued to write books from there. And I always been fascinated with kids and like fairy tales and stuff like that. So I just wanted to stay in the kid world, So I was like, yeah, let me get them while they're young.
Absolutely. Because, if you think about it, and who we have around our children when they're little is so very important. Be it that you are pouring sunshine, happiness, or you are pouring, hate and dissent and lies. Children are little sponges, so they're going to pick up everything that you give to them because they trust you by default because you're the parent or the caretaker. You're the adult. So you are so right. We do. We have to make sure that we're sharing that sunshine and happiness with them to help encourage them to move forward. I love it. I think that's why I like children's book authors, because you guys are very mindful of that. And you have to, you're not given, 1,000 pages to convey your message. You're given, just a few pages, and you have to be concise with what you choose. So I love that. I love that. Now, your book, My 7 Favorite Colors. Can you tell us, how did you come about the title? Does it have a special meaning?
The 7 favorite colors. The meaning is basically, it has something to do with, colors have something to do with energy. All of that. Colors is also in the ground, and they're beautiful in the sky, and they're so tasty when they're in the ground, and it just helps you with all this type of energy. And it's just, they're beautiful, and it can make you happy,
I don't think that many people understand the importance of color. Being a therapist, I know that there are color therapists out there in the world, and how we have to have these colors in our lives. We take for granted, the colors of the rainbow. We even take for granted the colors of the melanin in the skins of the people around the world. But it is a beautiful thing, and we should reflect upon it from that beauty of what God has given us. Like, there's the master artist right there. Even God wanted to be creative and use color. So you're so right about that. Now, was there a particular message that you wanted to get across, not only to the children, but perhaps to the person who was reading the book to a younger child? Or did you just make it easy to understand for everyone?
Well, the message that I was trying to give to the readers was that eating healthy, it can play a major role in our mental behavior, the way we think and the way we react and how we emotionally feel. So it was just basically to let you know that you can be happy depending on the way that you eat, So that was kind of the message that I was trying to get out there.
So should I understand it that you're saying, like, you could have green vegetables, and that's going to make you happy. We could eat purple grapes and be happy, or a yellow banana, and that energy is going to help make us happy. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, and you might not see it right away if you like, if you're used to eating a certain type of way, you might not see it right away. But if you continue to eat like this and you continue to train yourself to eat healthy, you'll see that you'll react to things differently, and you'll be more happier. I believe that it makes you a bit lighter on the heart.
Absolutely. I had a friend one day, when I first moved to California. I'm originally from Virginia. And he says, we eat a little differently. Now, I'm not saying, that how you eat is bad or anything like that, but just know that in California, people eat a little differently. It's not an extreme, but we're very much into what he referred to as living food. And I said, okay, explain it to me a little bit more. And he says, if it was alive or like living perhaps a day ago, like that lettuce that was just picked yesterday or this morning, or those bananas that you just got off the tree, that avocado that's in your backyard, or the oranges. In California, there's a lot of folks who have avocado and orange trees in their backyard. It's like, it was living this morning. You plucked it, and now you're going to get all that energy in your body. And I was like, ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
So, you're right. And to explain that to a little child and they understand the importance of their food, I think they'll get it. And I think they'll want that,
Yeah.
They want more energy so they
too.
can run with it. So, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Now, when it comes to what makes your book different, and I ask this of several guests that are on, there's always that person that says, yeah, your book is different. That's what they all say. But each book is different. So I want to ask you, what do you feel makes your book unique or special or sets it apart from some of the other books that are out there?
Okay, well, I think that it brings out the beauty of health and colors. And colors can give you this different type of feeling and this different type of energy. Like, for example, the color green. Green, it may make you feel more happier and less tired after you do a workout around that color. So that's why you may see people like to work out around the nature environment with the green, grass and all that. But colors can make you happy. And the colors of the rainbow brings out the beauty in the sky once the sky is dry. And them same colors are the colors in the ground that we eat. And that food that in the ground that we eat, it helps our soul. It helps us in a different type of way to where we'll think clearly. Like, it'll really affect you. Some people just may not see it like that, but I think that this book is pretty different. Like, I think it just brings out the beauty of colors to the kids. And it'll make them want to eat healthy, and it'll help their souls. And we really want to leave this generation up to great kids. So I think this book was great to just put it out as something so simple as colors and food and beauty, and it makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're onto something there, and you're right. I noticed that there's a difference when I go to the gym versus when I take a walk or a run or a skate or whatever it is when I'm outside. There's something about the sunshine, the fresh air, and just the scenery that is around you. And especially if you're blessed to be able to be in a place where you can run near the water or through a park or,
Yes.
hike on a trail.
Love it.
There's something, it's like nature really and truly does speak to us. And not trying to be, esoteric or weird or far out there or anything like that. But it does speak to us in a calming way. It really does. Like, I'm a beach baby. I love being next to the beach. I grew up by the water. So when I moved clear across the country, I still went right back to the beach because that's what makes me happy. But I vacationed in the mountains. In the mountains, there is a beauty that you don't find in the
there.
beach. So I tell everyone, find where you like, the mountains,
you'll
the
start
valleys.
to see.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start to see beauty in everything.
And especially for our little ones, find out where they like it. If they like going to the beach, take them to the beach. Let that be their place where they can shed some of their stress too. So I like that you included that in the book. That is so appropriate. Well, it is time for us to go to break. But before we do, Daysharee, can you please remind everyone, what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you?
The book is My 7 Favorite Colors by Daysharee Vallier. You can buy the book almost at any bookstore near you. Barnes & Noble, eBooks, Kindle, Amazon, Ex Libris, Arthur's House, Thrift Book, and so many more, sold everywhere. You can stay in contact with me on my Instagram, which is DayshareeVallier.theauthor, which is DayshareeV as in Victor, ALLIER.theauthor on Instagram. And you can also get a copy of the book from me.
I love it. Already, listeners, now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is Daysharee Vallier, and I am talking to her about her book, My 7 Favorite Colors. I love the title of that book, My 7 Favorite Colors. Now, she has been informing us of how she has taken this great idea of color and food and explaining how to make sure that our kids are eating as healthily as they possibly can by the use of color. I know, ingenious. Now, here's the thing, moms out there, we do diets according to colors, right? I know everyone knows about the color diet, where it's like, today we're going to only eat green. So what's green? And you're like, that means collard greens, apples, oh my goodness, what am I down to, right? It's like, today I need to eat yellow. So what is that? And it's like, no, it's not Doritos chips, it's bananas. We're thinking, and we go through all of these things, right? And it's like, what a great way to help our children eat as healthy as I can. I love this concept. I love it, love it, love it. Now, for so many kids, they are now not necessarily homeschooling, but they're doing school from home, right? Thanks to this pandemic that still is so widespread across our globe, not just here in the States, but everywhere. How do you make this book relevant for what's going on, or how do we, make it appropriate for today's situation and explain it to our kids?
Oh, well, I think that maybe the book is relevant today because there's lots of people out there who is not really eating the right food, and the way that it affects our body and the way we act, it can just be so useful to know and just to have fruit around. So I was thinking I can bring beauty to the food world so kids can see healthy differently. They could see health differently. Some think it's hard and that it's impossible to do it, but it's really possible. So I feel like the book was relevant to just let the parents know that it's really possible, and to let the kids know that it's something you can do. You want to be happy and you like colors, then go ahead and do it, because this is really what can make you happy. So I feel like this book was relevant today because people are not really getting that.
Yes. Oh, I like what you're saying. So the majority of us are still in some form of quarantine, even though you might be going out and about, but you're still kind of ordering food through drive-through. You may not be eating out. You may not have gone back to work. So for a way to kind of have a pick-me-up with the children, you're saying that they can kind of do the same version where if they like the color red, it's like, okay, we're going to go to the grocery store and get a red food to make you happy. I see you. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then on the Instagram, when they're learning, not the Instagram, sorry, in the internet world, when they're doing the quarantine, they be on YouTube a lot, and they be watching stuff like, like toys and getting red toys and slime and all of this stuff. They're not really watching stuff on there about, oh, this color is a fruit or this color is that, so they're kind of it's kind of slacking them off a little bit. So kind of putting this there, it just kind of helps you, like the mindset, like I said, the mindset.
I love it. You're right. It's like, let's utilize this time to actually pour some knowledge into our children as opposed to them just kind of being babysat by our iPhone. Nothing against the iPhone or anything, but let's utilize this time as best we can. I love it. I love it. Now, for someone who likes to involve children in projects, or they're always thinking of creative ways to utilize resources for children, do you think that your book could be used in a group setting? Like a lot of people are doing so many creative things for children on the internet, like you said. They're trying to pour into them. Do you think that your book could be used in a group setting, or is it best used for an individual read?
No, it could be for a group setting. It could be for anyone. It could be for a group, because everyone needs to know about this, and everyone needs to understand that this can affect how we enjoy the rest of our life.
I love that. Now, I always give my authors, especially of the children's books and of poetry, an opportunity to share a little bit if they want. So if you don't mind, a little bit later on in the show, but I'd love for you to be able to share a page or two if you like.
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, cool. Now, let me ask you this about the writing process that you went through. And each author has their own process of, where they write, how they want to write, and all of that. Did you find that there was a particular time of day or a particular environment that you needed? Like, did you need to get up at, 5 o'clock in the morning and be by yourself in order to write and get your ideas down? What worked best for you?
No, it just happened. I could be on the road and see a sign on the road and be like, hey, I can write that, put that in a book. That looks pretty cool. So it can just be anywhere. You get an idea, you sit down, you write it down, and then if you feel like it has a purpose behind this, you put it out there.
I can understand that, because inspiration is everywhere. You are so right, because I'm the same way with workshops and with sermons. Someone said something good, and I was like, man, that's a sermon right there. That is a great title. Or, woo, I can make that into a workshop. Like, that is amazing. Someone needs that seminar. So you're right. You find the inspiration everywhere. Now, once you had your book, you've written it, it's been illustrated, cover, the whole 9 yards, printed off, and you are now holding it in your hands. How did that moment feel to see your labor of love was now ready to be shared with the world?
It was exciting. It was my second book. It was about health, and at this moment, I was going through some major changes that I was unaware of at this time, and this was just the right book to just put out at that time where I was going through this major awakening, and I just thought it was cool.
It's so interesting how especially I've found with writers that what they're writing about not only is to inspire other people, but many times they find their own source of inspiration in their own way as they are writing, because it forces you to kind of have that quiet time because you're writing and you're still and you don't have the distractions of the world going past you. You're able to kind of hear so much more what God is trying to share with you. So I can definitely understand that. Now, for someone who is thinking of becoming an author themselves, what bit of the process did you find any difficulty in, or did you get stuck in, if you got stuck in anything at all, that you might want to tell someone else? You know, heads up, it takes longer to find an illustrator than you realize, or the editing process takes weeks, not days. Is there any bit of advice you can give to them regarding that?
Yeah, a lot of times you'll be on a roll and you think you got it, and sometimes you might get a little writer's block. This part of it all is pretty much like it gets frustrating because you be thinking you can't get it done. It doesn't matter if the story is really short or if the story is really long, because I read these stories that's really long and stories that's really short. Sometimes you can just get stuck. But when you're stuck, just kind of give yourself that time to take a break, to be able to observe what's going on in life right now, and to just sit down and see how things is affecting life. And then you can take things out of that, and you can find some inspiration, and then you'll figure it out, and then you'll be on the roll again. And then when you're ready to publish, you kind of be scared a little bit and all that, but just follow your heart. If you feel like it's a great purpose, just go ahead with the purpose and let it be great.
No, I totally get that. You know, we do have to follow our heart. I tell people all the time, God gave you the vision. He didn't give the vision to everybody else. He gave it to you.
That's
so other
right.
people may not see what you see. They may see a portion. Like if you explain it and they're sitting there going, okay, and then they might hit a wall and go, I don't know about that. It's not for you.
Yeah.
You know, no, you may not see it the way that I see it. So you're right. If it is given to you, run with it to the end. I love that bit of advice. I have to agree with you on that. Now we have about 3 minutes or so left, so I do want to leave some time for you to be able to share with our listeners. So I am going to now just open the floor up to you, and whatever part of the story, and no, listeners, you know she's not going to read the whole book. You have to purchase it. This is not story time. Whatever part you would like to share with us, please feel free to do so.
Okay. Well, I'll share the last page, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. All these colors are my favorite colors. All these colors remind me of something healthy. These 7 colors are the colors of the rainbow. This part was just to show that the colors of the rainbow are healthy. It goes to show that even though it rains, it dries. When it dries, the rainbow comes. We all know the story of that. And it comes with these beautiful colored foods that can help us nurture our soul. And that's a sample of the book. That's my 7 favorite colors.
I love it. No, really, I do. Because I'm thinking about, because of your book being introduced to a kid that perhaps is a picky eater, right? And they say, well, Mommy, I really enjoyed that book. And it's like, okay, well, would you like to eat through the rainbow? Yeah, let's eat through the rainbow. It's like, oh, my goodness, this might be it, you know, and you let the kid pick something that they want to try. Now, I was not a picky eater. My kids were not picky eaters, but someone out there is going, look, my kid only wants to eat, like, rice and fish. That's it, or a hamburger. And it's like, oh, wow. But this book might introduce a way for them to say, yeah, let's find out what a red cherry tastes like, or what a green grape tastes like, or spinach, or whatever it is. What a beautiful thing that you have introduced to kids, and you've given them permission to try it without without defaulting on the kid pledge of I hate vegetables, right? And it's like I'm not turning my back on my fellow kids of I hate vegetables, but instead I'm just trying what this book said. So it's a different way of looking at it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, before I let you go, I would love to ask you one more time. Could you please remind everyone what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you?
The book is My 7 Favorite Colors by author Daysharee Vallier. You can buy the book at almost any bookstore. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, eBooks, thrift books, and so much more. Ex Libris, Arthur's House, and you can also get it from me. You can get it from Daysharee Vallier the author on Instagram. And you can also find me on Facebook at Daysharee Vallier, author Daysharee Vallier. Yes. And you can get a copy from me as well.
Well, Daysharee, thank you so much again for being on and for sharing your book with our listeners today. I really and truly appreciate your being on. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.
You as well. And listeners, of course, I want to thank you for tuning in and spending time with us as well. As always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember, you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.